All right, all right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game Smurf versus what I'm going to call Neutron. I believe that's his name. Caught a stream. Yes, you caught a stream. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. However you guys may be watching, listening, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for supporting the channel as we unlock and watch this game between Smurf and Neutron. Smurf spawning as the purple night elf on the top side of the map. You're going to go ahead and get to that 2-minute mark just to speed things up a little bit. Ancient of War being built high on the ramp here. Archer most likely will pop on out, fire an arrow, come back up, and all of those ranged troll berserkers will then have a little, well, will have a higher chance of missing that, allowing that Ancient of War to absorb a little bit more damage. But at the same time, well, that's a bit scary because he's not close to any trees, really. All right, let's go ahead and bring things back. Taking a look here, it is going to be a Tavern hero, Brewmaster, coming in from the Night Elf. Meanwhile, Archmage nearly already done clearing out of this creep camp here. I was wondering for a second, like, how come the 2-minute mark I don't see a hero out yet? It is a Tavern hero, as Lost Temple, originally a Reign of Chaos map without the Tavern. These Taverns were added into the corners later on. Archmage going to rush on up here. It looks as though peasants are going to perhaps just try to do a little bit of work while waiting to get enough lumber to perhaps start that expansion. Archmage coming across into the center here. Null Brute, well, going to drop a Water Elemental. Null Brute going after that Water Elemental there. That Water Elemental absorbing 500 points of damage early going. As you see the Forest Troll Berserker. Oh, that Ancient of War. Wow, nearly taken down. Down to 52 hit points. Down to 20. Oh, is it going to get taken down? Down to 40. Wow, that is an extremely close, low hit point there as Smurf is setting up an expo off to the north as well. Right, it looks like both sides know that it was forced cross spawns, and because it's forced cross spawns, it's fairly safe to try and go for an expo early. You're not going to get pressured, and the main walking paths are covered by all of these creeps. These creeps do block things significantly, and therefore makes it a little bit difficult to rally new units back into the battlefield. So we're going to see a lot of, well, single player versus the computer right now as the Archmage looks to clear out this creep camp here. All right, one Water Elemental. Is it going to take a little bit of poking damage? It is. More footmen making its way back across. Meanwhile, Archmage wants to perhaps go shopping at the Goblin Merchant shop, perhaps pick up Boots of Speed. There goes a Forest Troll Berserker, Forest Troll Shadow Priest. More things getting cleared up. It looks like Neutron should be fine there. There's that level 3. There's that Boots of Speed. And now, well, taking a look at what else is available. No tech to tier 2 yet by Neutron. Meanwhile, the ancient, the Tree of Life is nearly done, 3/4 of the way. Expo for Neutron is already operational. More peasants need to be trained here, as I believe there's only 4 on this one gold mine. One of them opting to go for collecting lumber instead of collecting gold. A little bit of a misstep there. We'll keep tabs and an eye on it here as we see the Archmage attempting to take down this Tree of Life before the Tree of Life finish. Water Elemental puddling up behind. Is it gonna, yes, going to take in a decent amount of damage there as the Archmage may pick up a Tome of Agility for free? No, no one likes the Tomes of Agility at all. Meanwhile, Panda in the center portion of the map trying to blow things over, taking down this Null Poacher creep camp. There are just a handful of Null Overseers left. The Poachers are all getting blown apart, and there goes one Archer. So a little bit of a misstep there. Remember, the Null Overseers do deal normal damage, so normal damage against these archers, and those archers fall quickly. Meanwhile, back inside the base here, we're looking at Mass Wisp, perhaps Mass Detonation, taking down all of those Water Elementals, and suddenly that army just, well, dissolves into nothing. Tech to tier 2 is 3/4 or, well, 4/5 of the way done and nearly completed. Meanwhile, Neutron did add, I believe, an additional peasant and is now getting up an Arcane Vault at the Expo. Scroll of Town Portal inbound here. Smurf gonna try and clean things up. There's that Moonwell. There's gonna be a Breath of Fire. One Moonwell down to 65 hit points. Is it gonna end up getting cleaned out? That is the question, as more footmen are now making their way across the battlefield here. You got to remember though, during daybreak, it is not easy to clear up these creep camps or to walk across the map here. Panda trying to go after these units. Panda may be able to chase after, or with one Breath of Fire, well, take down 2 of those footmen, and yes, does exactly do that. Now nearly at level 4. All right, Potion of Greater Mana to ensure the kill on 2 footmen. A good trade there. Archmage finally picks up that tome. Gonna try and perhaps deny this Hunter's Hall. And I don't know if Neutron realized that that was a Hunter's Hall before he clicked on it, not seeing the building. I guess that's one of those situations where perhaps WarCraft 3 Reforged would have given you a little bit more information as to what is being built compared to, well, the classic graphics. No repairs underway. We can see a Tree of Life now being placed down here. Tech to Tier 2 has started. We are getting up a scout tower. There is a lumber wheel with that improved harvesting upgrade as the Archmage is still trying to stick around with all of this pressure. This has been a long, drawn-out, early battle here, all the way across the map, and it sounds like now that we have reached daybreak, we are no longer going to be engaging here. Footman trying to do a little bit of healing. You can see, well, I'm just going to try and go after this Null Overseer, pull it away from the from the Fountain of Health, while the Archmage is benefiting from that Fountain of Health, knowing the exact range there, and now, well, finishing off that Null Overseer. So benefiting from the Fountain while denying it for that Null Overseer. Going to pick up a Mana Stone if he's, well, paying attention. Archmage is not paying attention. Panda picks up the Mana Stone, gets another Breath of Fire off, and wow, Smurf is taking some big items there. Meanwhile, Brewmaster is still fighting. We see Drunken Brawler. He's able to deal quite a bit more here. Are we going to see a Breath of Fire finishing off a Footman down to dead as the Brewmaster about halfway up to level 5 and now is at Tree of Ages with a solo Brewmaster, giving him a little bit more bonus experience. Meanwhile, Tree of Life taking a little bit of damage here. Archmage is pretty much a pincushion, absorbing lots of damage and needs a way to teleport back and heal to that Fountain of Health. All right, Footman now making their way back over. Archmage down to 136 hit points. Panda is here. We're going to see a Breath of Fire and a final arrow in, well, final arrow flew, but not going to finish off as the one Footman ends up, well, just a little bit outside of range. We're looking at that Brewmaster trying to finish off this Footman. Footman with Defend. Well, not microed, not trying to stutter step, just ends up falling. All right, we are getting up Ancient of Lore. There's one second Ancient of Lore down to the south. We do have an Ancient of Wonders as well. We are now going into triple Arcane Sanctum. All right, I do not believe I've ever seen a triple Arcane Sanctum ever. Straight after Tier 2. I can't imagine actually needing this many casters against a Night Elf player, so curious as to what is unfolding here. The economy is strong for Neutron. On the bottom left, you can see still mining plenty of gold, having 3,000 more gold than his opponent at this stage in the game. Meanwhile, Archmage able to finally teleport out from behind this wall and hang out at this Fountain of Health. All right. What is being trained? Spellbreaker, Priest, Sorceress. All right, one for each building, one for each type, and, well, they shall well, continue to just try and crank out units. We are also looking at a Blood Mage as the second hero to perhaps siphon mana from that Panda. Panda looked as though it did spend that Mana Stone in order to ensure the kills here, as we are getting a couple of repairs on this Tree of Life. All right. Dryad, some slow poison. Brewmaster going to get in position here. There's a Breath of Fire, and suddenly, well, hit points are lost. A critical strike right there, or Drunken Brawler strike, rather. 120-point critical Drunken Brawler strike as the Footman tries to get back again. Brewmaster still sitting at level 4, getting that much closer to level 5. Meanwhile, down to the south, siphon mana into the Archmage. Archmage has plenty of mana here, could summon up some more water elementals. Overlord trying to retreat back. Footman with Defend. We're trying to reflect back some of that damage as we see a Pit Lord as the second hero for Night Elf with, well, Cleave. All right, so definitely two brawler type heroes. with the Drunken Brawler and then Cleave, we might be looking at Howl of Terror in that frontline spot as well. But the Pit Lord generally does not do well unless there's a Death Knight to be able to get in large heals as well. Triple Workshop, or triple Arcane Sanctums plus 1 Workshop. Neutron really trying to push with his strong economy and perhaps surprise Smurf. You remember, Smurf is just now getting the first full minute of mining off of this entangled gold mine, and it is obvious when you take a look at the supply counts who has the larger army. The question is going to be whether or not Neutron can get to perhaps level 3 on the Blood Mage and level 5 on the Archmage in time. Before things fall back too much. All right, Blood Mage going to go pick up that claws of attack, and Neutron taking up perhaps a potential third base here as we see Militia showing up to the party. 70 over 86 supply. Mortar teams getting trained up here. Arcane Sanctums, only 2 out of the 3 Arcane Sanctums are working here as the Archmage Mortar teams ready to do a push. We are only sitting at tier 2. We are getting up armor upgrades and level 2 weapon upgrades for those Mortar teams. The Mortar teams perhaps going to be the ones doing the majority of the damage. Archmage drops a Water Elemental. Blood Mage could siphon mana off of that Forest Troll High Priest. It would stop some of the healing as well, or prevent some of the healing, as we see Inner Fire also being applied here. Blood Mage opting not to do that. We see Book of the Dead. That is just going to be Wisp fodder perhaps, as the Blood Mage will get to level 3 off of the last 2 remaining level 4 creeps here. All right. We are going to be looking at Flame Strike, Siphon Mana, picking up a couple of Scrolls of Healing, trying to sell some of those items. Book of the Dead was actually held onto against the Night Elf, and now the Mortar teams, perhaps they are going to put in pressure, try and shut down this Tree of Life, take down the building quickly with a hit-and-run tactic again. All right, hit-and-run tactics so far throughout this matchup. Meanwhile, Smurf is going to go ahead and Goblin Zeppelin up some of these units. And how is this all going to unfold? Druids of the Claw are only in Adept form, not in Mastery form here, as the Spellbreakers are now at the party. Here we are, here we go, getting ready. Mortar teams, there's Blizzard, there's Flame Strike. That's going to be one dead Tree of Life in just a matter of seconds. Meanwhile, back down to the south side here, we see a quick scroll, or a quick Zeppelin drop inside Panda. All of these peasants are now getting taken down. We're going to see more Breath of Fire trying to blow things over. And is this just going to turn into a base race scenario? All right, if you're trying to race bases, you better know that you are up on bases. And I do not believe Smurf realizes how far behind he is. Mortar team's not going to get up into position here. There are a couple of bears ready to engage here. Mortar teams, well, they do not want to be in that frontline spot. They're going to perhaps try and take down, yes, this Ancient of Wonders, take down some easy buildings. Flame Strike should have gone down onto the Druid of the Claw, as well. We're going to be looking at all of these buildings absolutely destroyed in seconds. Mortar teams bringing up the rear with 4 Mortar teams lobbing in so much damage. Spellbreakers trying to go after all of these units. In comes the Scroll of Town Portal. Flame Strike Blizzard should be perfect now, as we're looking at Archers all just getting cleaned up. Panda at level 5, there's a Scroll of Healing used, but that was a bit premature. Didn't really have that many casters or anything hit by that Breath of Fire, as the Mortar teams are still lobbing their way through. 71 supply compared to 48. There's another Breath of Fire. There's another Scroll of Healing. And, the Mortar teams are just absolutely enjoying all of this damage here. There's a big, and I don't know what that was for, perhaps to try and stop the bears, as we are looking at the Panda Brewmaster trying to finish off more units here. Meanwhile, what is going on? So many low hit point Druids of the Claws. Those can be finished off so easy. There's another Flame Strike trying to finish the buildings off, but prioritizing targets and dealing damage to those Druids of the Claw are the real big deals. All right, going after another Druid of the Claw. It finally gets taken down. Level 3 Blizzard working its magic, as the units are retreating back. All right, no more keep. More priests getting added and trained on up. 51 supply compared to 37. Mortar teams retreating back. We are looking at two mining bases versus 1. and the Mortar teams are still trying to retreat back to the Fountain of Health. There are a couple of Spellbreakers here. They could have actually offered a little bit more support. Instead, the Archmage and the Blood Mage are just coming across and saying, you know what, let's continue to fight after all these units. All right, there's a Breath of Fire. Oh, Blood Mage could be in trouble. Scroll of Town Portal. Blood Mage wants to stick around close enough, teleport back perhaps, as we are looking at the Bears and Spellbreakers and Priests looking for a battle here. Remember, Cleave is actually applying a lot more damage than you would think. Normally, the Pit Lord is only hitting one target at a time, was actually slicing and dicing through all of those units, making it difficult for the Priest to actually keep up on the healing. Level 5 Archmage, Level 4 Blood Mage, Scroll of Regeneration, Priest only at the Initiate training. Archmage has no Water Elemental summons, remember, so what can really tank this front line damage? Not very much. Archmage trying to double back around, perhaps go shopping, buy some Scrolls of Healing, gonna go for another, well, if you have the gold, I guess go for it. He's gonna go for another Tome of Retraining, and perhaps... retrain the Blood Mage to banish. All right. I thought for a moment that Neutron was going to try and go train for Water Elemental so that he actually had a tank in this frontline spot. Not the case. All right, long distance mining off of those peasants here, or perhaps they're going to reposition so that they can gather lumber at this lumber mill. Meanwhile, dual arcane and arcane towers providing enough protection there. All right, Tome of Intelligence +2 picked up. There's a Wand of the Wind. Perhaps a Scroll of Town Portal will be needed, but remember, you can't actually Scroll of Town Portal into the main base with all this infrastructure without a town hall. The Bears are just going to, destroy all of these buildings here, but I guess in Neutron's mind, these buildings are NWS, not worth saving. If he can buy time, it just makes sense the other way. Neutron has plenty of lumber, so yeah, this is actually just long distance mining here as the Archmage getting ready to rush on in once more. All right, bunch of low hit point buildings in the back going after the Moonwell here. Blood Mage is nearby. Mortar team's perhaps going to start lobbing and getting in some damage as well. Spellbreaker is able to stand in the storm and not really care as, well, key building after key building lost. All right, there's a Cyclone right there. There's a Siphon Mana. There's a Breath of Fire. Archmage is going to try and go for Blizzard across all of these units. There goes another, Wand of the Wind. Thank you for the follow as we're still fighting our way through. Brewmaster trying to head off into the back line. No more mana, though, so Breath of Fire not going to work out that well. And then, well, Banish instead. So banishing the opponents. There's a Howl of Terror. Brewmaster comes back in trying to re-engage, now banishing the Pit Lord. So the Pit Lord with Cleave pretty much out of commission as well. Druids of the Claw trying to retreat back here, trying to banish more units. The Blood Mage seemingly have mana for days. Plenty of targets to go between Druids of the Claw and the heroes, pretty much saying that I can neutralize every single one of your fights here. Brewmaster should be banished again, as it is banished once more. All right. Bears, however, do deal good damage against these Spellbreakers. Medium armor up against the normal attacks of those Bears as those units are trying to retreat back. 63 supply compared to 47. Both sides fighting. One Bear does finally fall, but at some point, this trick from the Blood Mage has to stop. It can't last forever as more Siphon Mana is still happening. There's another Scroll of Healing. There's not enough priests to really keep all of this healing alive as they're still only at the Adept training. All right, trying to go after all of these Druids of the Claw here. 2 Druids of the Claw could easily get taken out. There's some more Siphon Mana again as another Druid of the Claw about to get taken down. There goes one. Another one about to get taken down as well as the Mortar team tries to get a little bit of distance and separation again. Meanwhile, Archmage is chasing after those Dryads, trying to shut them down as you see the Blood Mage siphoning mana away from the Brewmaster. However, well, a bit of Cleave. Units are going to try and fall back, perhaps hang at this Fountain of Health. Meanwhile, mass peasants with one Mortar team and one Footman trying to go after all of these units here. All right, Mortar team going to get healed up there. Scroll of Town Portal did teleport back. Mortar team trying to go back up onto the high ground and get a little bit of distance separation. And we'll talk about the Mortar teams just working a bit of overtime to try to go after all of these units. Archmage does not have mass teleport yet, obviously. Meanwhile, the Goblin Zeppelin, you see all of these buildings have pretty much been cleared up. No additional Arcane Sanctums. And with that, no more casters. All right. Mortar team down to 19 hit points. He's going to get finished off. He finally gets taken down. The peasants are trying to clear up the rest of the forest troll shadow priest. Bunch of peasants moving around the map to, well, I used to watch your replays a long time ago on YouTube before Twitch existed. Like, all right. Yep, I'm still here. I'm still here. Yep, still upload to YouTube as well. All right. This expo by Neutron still has plenty of mining left. These peasants doing a little bit of a dance back and forth. Flying machine perhaps going to be able to shoot down that goblin zeppelin, or at least gain sight on it. Archmage could be in a little bit of trouble now. 47 supply compared to 48. Both sides looking to engage here, and the Dryads are just going to be able to poke down the priest pretty easily. The priest should be able to heal itself, as we see one goblin zeppelin actually get shot down. Level 5 now on the blood mage. Staff of preservation from the brewmaster saving a unit there, as the blood mage, well, needs to find a way to stay alive. Are we going to see a dead priest? Remember, priests are incredibly important now. Since there are no arcane sanctums, they need to be rebuilt in order to start getting some, well, a little bit more healing. All right, this is a tough spot to be in now. The mortar teams will need ways to deal more damage up against all of those dryads. Mortar teams with those long-ranging arch attacks do deal bonus damage versus those dryads if they can actually land. He's still hanging on. Yep, still hanging on. Been doing this for about, well, I've been doing this for more than a decade. I think I'm coming up on 15 years of casting for fun. Never claimed to be a professional caster. Still, well, for now, still have a day job. Thank you, everyone, once again, for all of the support out there. Yep, in this transition time, looking for a new job and all that. You know, nice to know that the community around me can, you know, at least help pay for my internet bill. Just enjoying the casting, yeah. All right, Pitlord sitting at level 4 now in that frontline spot. Druid of the Claw going to clean things up. And right now it feels like Neutron had opportunities and was just trying to press his advantage as much as possible. But ended up right now just falling a little bit short. This army, this composition here, isn't going to go well against mass dryads. The sorceresses can't attack here at all, and the dryads, with their decent movement speed, have been able to, well, shut down the mortar teams and just pick them off. The Pit Lord also in that frontline spot with, well, with that cleave, able to clear out many units pretty fast, as the sorceresses, well, now in a little bit of trouble. The dryads perhaps should have hit multiple sorceresses instead of one. Only one got targeted, and now, well, there's a howl of terror only affecting the blood mage, as that blood mage isn't really going to be doing any auto attacks. This is not what you want to be doing, though. You do not want to be trying to attack into Neutron in a fortified position. He has these mortar teams in the back, and under the cover of guard towers and arcane towers, this is not, you cannot be engaging at the base here. Meanwhile, what is this? Wow, that the arcane sanctums now being built and actually adding in a lumber mill here by Neutron. Neutron is just doing multiple plays all around the map, as Smurf is looking to set up a new gold mine here, taking over his expo. 3,000 gold. All right, so Neutron sitting on 3,000 gold. It needs lumber. Fountain of Health cleared out by Smurf. He's going to be able to heal up nicely at the center portion of the map. And Smurf, well, really has no idea about this base off to the side. He knows about this base on the bottom left, but he has to assume that that gold mine is nearly done mining. Meanwhile, we see an invisible group of mortars making their way over here to the top right. Those mortars, remember, are 2-0 upgraded and can deal large amounts of damage. Meanwhile, lumber mill, double priest production, lumber mill done here, trying to get up or higher up on supply, just to clear things up here, as we see a Druid of the Claw now making its way out to perhaps try and shut down that footman. Mining into enemy base. Yep. All right, bottom left-hand side, a Dryads. All right, this is going to look like it's turning into a base trace scenario. Arcane Tower trying to go after the Brewmaster. Brewmaster, well, losing all of its mana already. Dryad's trying to poke apart at this keep here. That's not going to bode well. One Druid of the Claw, and now in comes the Mortar team. Mortar team's trying to shut down the tree of eternity. In comes a Scroll of Town Portal to save. The Town Hall here is still alive. Neutron can still start mining, but only for 280 more gold. Meanwhile, what is the Archmage going to do with this mass army of Dryads ready to push on through? There needs to be knights. There needs to be some sort of frontline tank to deal damage as the Mortar teams, well, there goes a nice round splat. All right, trying to splat down these units exactly there. 4 Mortar teams now down to 3. Archmage is going to do a tactical retreat, banishes one of the Mortar teams in order to save him. Yeah, banish. Sounds like a strict Asian parent. I'm banishing you because I love you. I got a laugh out of my daughter. Okay, anyways, apparently, yeah, anyways, coming back around, 26 minutes into this game. 26 minutes into this game, still no clear-cut winner. Earth, Storm, and Fire now ready for the Panda. Meanwhile, Archmage still sitting at 5.9, no mass teleport. So mass teleport would be a very big deal here if it could get underway. Meanwhile, flying machines are off to the side, keeping track of the wings of the map as the Dryads, perhaps suspecting that there is still mining happening somewhere else. All right, this base, well, a base could be established here pretty easily and quickly as the Mortar teams are going to be making a trek off to the north. 79 over 80 supplied by Neutron. Meanwhile, Smurf, sitting at 48 over 50, is mining off of one base. And what is happening back at home? Where is the army? There is the army here. Pitlord trying to get to level 5 will be able to do that, clearing off these last couple of troll berserkers. Meanwhile, though, without a tree of life here, and that means no inbound Scroll of Town Portal, meaning that the infrastructure, these buildings, are going to get cleared out extremely fast. You can take a look. 4 Mortar teams, 6 Mortar teams here. Well, 6 Mortar teams walk into a forest and completely destroy an ancient. And that's just going to be continuing to happen here. Smurf losing all of his production buildings into that Ancient of Lore as the army is now making their rounds again. All right, Mortar teams are in a good position. Archmage actually gets to level 6 because of the Ancient damage as the Mortar teams now need to be focusing onto those Dryads. Look at that. Dryads just absolutely getting pummeled. Anti-magic potion there. What is happening as the Dryads are getting absolutely splatted by units? A big breath of fire. No, there is a scroll of healing available as we see siphon mana from that brewmaster. There is earth, storm, and fire, and immolation, invisibility. There's that scroll of healing, meaning more and more units are getting splatted down. There goes another Dryad again. Are we going to lob another attack? Yes, we are, but none of them actually deal damage. I thought someone on YouTube, watch that section again, see if they actually take damage. I thought since the attack was already lobbed, that the damage would be dealt. With that many mortar shots, I would have thought at least one of the Dryads would have fallen since they were already in the red, unless they were not close enough to the center. Let me know if they took any damage at all. Anyways, Expo mining here. No towers whatsoever. Mining on this base here. Well, at the 3 o'clock spot, about 7 or 6.5 minutes of mining left. Bottom left is cleared out. This base pretty much not even being bothered anymore. 4 Troll Berserker very far in the back. Is it going to get cleaned up? Yes, it will. Are we sending an invisible unit out anywhere? No, we are not. There's still a fly machine off over here as well. And I feel sorry for those peasants. Well, these peasants earlier... well, there is that war mill improved lumber harvesting. It's actually up to plus 20, so 30 per trip for these peasants, meaning that even though they have to walk longer because they're able to carry more per trip, it's actually quite still a bit efficient. Well, still quite efficient. All right. Couple of reveals happening around the map as well, trying to see if anyone has taken these corner locations. Archmage ready to dive in again, perhaps just do hit and run, take down a building, and then mass teleport away. are taking down key buildings is always key, or always a good idea, as these Moonwells do represent hit points and have an impact on battle or battle recovery. All right, last Moonwell in the back. Well, one quick lob. Well, one more needed, as the units are going to try and retreat back here. Are we going to see a mass teleport getting away here? Let's take a look. There's going to be a breath of fire hitting all of those casters. Dryad's trying to dodge away. There's some siphon mana. There's an anti-magic potion to stop that. Are we going to see another breath of fire as one priest does get taken down? There's a breath of fire finishing off some of those mortar teams who are trying to get close enough to the Dryads. The Dryads are dancing back as we see a little bit of deny there. All right, splash damage deny, as we're looking at the Pit Lord actually going to get surrounded. Surrounded by Spellbreakers. Breath of Fire onto the Spellbreakers, obviously not doing anything, as we're still looking at this engagement here. Level 6, level 5 mortar teams having the high ground. Well, yeah, never attack up onto the high ground here, as the mortar teams are pushing back once more. All right, Earthstorm and Fire should be available. There it is. There's a Breath of Fire. There's Earthstorm and Fire. Blood Mage could be in trouble. Potion of Invulnerability used there. Archmage also being forced to try and retreat back out. Are we going to see a mass teleport in order to get away? Yes, we are. Blood Mage trying to get back. Are we going to see a Breath of Fire? No, we do not. And all of those low hit point units will live and fight another day. Perhaps they need to get to that fountain of health and heal up. Meanwhile, Neutron never saw a gold mine he didn't want to mine from, apparently, and that means, well, there's a lot to do here on Lost Temple. All right. Neutron really showing why WarCraft 3 can be a resource game. Smurf has mined significantly less gold than his opponent, but is still in it. Neutron trying to just run with as much gold as possible and pummel his opponent with a superior size army, and hasn't been able to close the book yet. All right, this gold mine here still has units. I'm surprised that the Archmage isn't going to try and try to clear out that creep camp. There's enough priests here that he can clear out that creep camp and actually have a bit more hit points at the end and have another expansion location. But then again, well, same thing here at the 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock expansion location, or expansion location getting built. The 9 o'clock main base already there. Meanwhile, already mining from the 3 o'clock starting location, and has some nearly finished mining here at the 4 o'clock expansion location. All right, in comes, well, mass teleport. Are the units going to try and teleport away or get away? There it is. There's a big round of splat. I guess, yeah, the mortar teams, they all should have hit, unless the fragmentation shards, perhaps the fragmentation shard upgrades were not completed. And with that, since the splash area is so small, unless the Dryads are stationary, they're not going to take full damage. All right, Blood Mage, siphon mana away. A little bit more pressure. Mortar team's going to go ahead and lob some damage again. There's a Breath of Fire pushing on again. Panda looking to go back and forth. There's a little bit of slow, but with an army of Dryads like that, any debuff is not going to really stick, or has no reason for sticking. 80 supply compared to 58. Neutron still sitting on 1,800 gold and collecting more. He has a large, well, plethora of consumable items, as well as he's perhaps trying to trap the Panda and the Pit Lord into a back corner. All right, mass teleport. Where are they going to teleport to? Off to the north here. There's a scout tower. Peasants should be trying to build that there. You need tier 3 to get that upgrade on mortars, bro. Like, yeah, I know. I'm trying to... Dude, this has been a 34-minute game. The main town hall has been cleared. Trying to remember fragmentation charge. Yeah, that's the reason why. Also, bro, remember that the splash damage on all mortar teams have been reduced significantly. Even the non-fragmentation shard version. So it just seems weaker, significantly weaker. But with that, the Dryads are able to, well, use that high ground, continuing the fight. All right, both sides fighting their way through. Howl of Terror trying to reduce the amount of damage that those mortar teams are doing in the back there, as the Brewmaster is in that front line still, well, trying to act like that massive, massive tank. Another banish right there. Brewmaster pretty much low on mana. He does have enough for Earthstorm and Fire, I believe. If he can get up to 25 mana, Scroll of Town Portal back away, Potion of Mana, coupled, should have been able to use Earthstorm and Fire. I believe it's 150, but the Spellbreaker's constantly, well, clearing that out.
A town is under siege.
All right. Smurf still hanging on barely. 71 supply compared to, or 52. Smurf's gold mine has 7 minutes of mining left. Meanwhile, Neutron's gold mines have, this expo finally about to get taken out. We are getting up more mortar teams. We are going into castle now with perhaps trying to go for that fragmentation shards that were mentioned earlier to close out this game. Archmage does have a Scroll of Town Portal. Pit Lord, oh, what is going to go on here? Trying to get in a little bit of pressure, perhaps Scrolls of Healing. Unit's going to try and run all the way back inside. Dryads should be able to start picking off some of the stragglers, and by picking off the stragglers, slowing them down, they should be able to divide and conquer them. Archmage is now in the far position here, says, you know what? I can teleport out of here, no problem. So backed himself into a corner and then said, give me a one-way ticket out of here. Again. All right. More Dryads here. More peasants, more lumber needed. Neutron, low on lumber throughout this matchup. I believe the mortar teams could actually just park themselves here, and then they would have enough range to try and force a fight. I'm not sure why they're not doing that, and well, I don't even actually see the mortar teams anymore. Archmage is going to go ahead and mass teleport away, teleporting back down to the south here, and we are at castle. There are 4 mortar teams, and wait, is that a critter? Was that a mechanical critter? That sheep is moving too uniformly to, and it is giving sight. Yeah, okay, that's a mechanical critter. $90 over 100 supply. Dryads now poking apart the gold mine line here. Pit Lord could actually get to level 6, which could be a Doom Guard. This mechanical critter could be a beacon for mass teleportation later. Mortar teams just need a park right here, and that is enough. They can block the path, deal damage. They are close enough to hit a lot of the main buildings that are necessary to force an engagement. Breath of Fire now coming across onto all of those casters here. Earthstorm and Fire now online here. They're going to try and retreat back. Mass teleport away again. And Neutron is just turning this game into a pure economy war, forcing Smurf to use his ultimate ability and then saying, you know what? I don't need to fight you when you have your ultimate ability. I can just teleport away. Peasant right there. All right. In comes a mechanical critter slowly across the map. Yep. Mechanical critter slowly walking across the map there. It doesn't show up yellow on the mini map. Finally, Smurf about to clear out this 4 or 3 o'clock starting location expansion by Neutron. Tree of Life is there. Expo on the bottom side, has already been mined out. In comes another mass teleport, and really, I think just park your units here, and fight. Right, you have enough range to hit a lot of key buildings while offering protection. Neutron finally at tier 3, getting Knights, getting Inner Fire, and now ready to start lobbing those attacks, going after that Tree of Eternity before Nature's Blessing is done. Panda comes across. There's Inner Fire, there's Breath of Fire, and well, there's a Doom Guard. Doom Guard going to go ahead and stomp its way through, try to stop some of that damage as we have a mass or another Scroll of Town Portal out. The Tree of Eternity, however, was taken out, as we see this town hall now taken down. All right, so slow attrition, 92 supply compared to 58. Upside down on supply now. Neutron is just, well, wants to figure out a way how to close out this marathon of a match 40 minutes into the game. I believe the writing is on the wall. Smurf is going to have to throw up a GG soon, as Neutron going to be attacking with a full 100 supply army here. I didn't mean to be rude in any way. No, I don't. As soon as anyone says bro, I'm just like, I don't know. Part of me is like, come on, bro. I'll bro you back. And then it came out that way. I didn't think you meant to be rude. I didn't think you meant to be rude. It just came out, like my energy came out that way. Just having fun with you guys. The guy's name is Zabro. Back across here, another mass teleport. Doomguard is still nearby. It is slowed. It is going to be easily taken down. There it goes. Siphon mana, a Breath of Fire, mass mortar teams. A Phoenix is now out on the battlefield. So everyone has level multiple, or all their heroes are now sitting at level 6 as the Pit Lord looks to get away. All right, mass mortar teams. Not even needing inner fire. Mortar teams are just able to engage. Yeah, I think if the mortar teams were just here, they would have had enough range to at least clear out most of the buildings and kind of force a fight. At this point, anything... I don't think Smurf can win at all. Panda is about to get taken down. Earth is still alive right now, but he is just absolutely getting pummeled by units left and right. We're looking at the Phoenix trying to go after the Pit Lord, as the Dryads are magic immune. Knight does have that Doomguard debuff, and the Doomguard is now back out onto the battlefield, but all of these buildings are going to be easily cleared out. Panda still has 1,200 hit points still after all this time, pounding his way through. And, well, there goes another building here. Archmage, Scroll of Town Portal, perhaps to try and back away. There's Siphon Mana. There's Howl of Terror. The Phoenix trying to deal damage to the Pit Lord while banished. Could rack up quite a bit more. Panda, is he going to Breath of Fire, finish off all of those? Wow! Finishes off 3 mortar teams, and now 58 supply compared to 13. Pit Lord does end up falling, and Neutron's 100 supply army now down to 58, as it's going to finally come to an end. Panda now sitting at level 7. Doomguard going to get cleaned up here. Level 7 double level up on the Archmage and the on the Archmage and the Blood Mage. And finally, there is the game. Smurf leaving the game here. I want to see the final scores on this. And yeah, bro, I'm just having fun. All right, final score. Yeah, resource score. Let's take a look purely at the resources. 16,000 gold difference mined, and that's on top of the 10,000 gold more lost to upkeep. That is a massive difference overall. In terms of efficiency, Neutron, Smurf won, but, well, Neutron was able to take up more bases and just outlast his opponent by being all over the place, grabbing every bit of gold, and just constantly getting items. 53 items obtained. We saw how many scrolls of healing, potions of invulnerability were constantly being used, scrolls of protection as well, just to try and mitigate some of the damage of that Breath of Fire. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.